Oh man, am I live now? I guess I am live. Good morning. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good morning, beautiful people. This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist. Just got to the studio. I had a bagel and the coffee. And this is hammer time, baby. Hammer time. Hammer time. Hammer time. Yeah. This is where I get to talk to you guys about keeping your mindset right. Your mindset ain't right, ain't nothing else right. How's it going, Gina Sellers? Your mindset is the only thing that really matters. Other than that, you may be, I don't know, experiencing some interesting stuff. Although your mindset is what matters the most, this is not meant to simplify other things, other aspects, right? This is not meant to simplify other aspects. But if your mindset's not right, then other aspects of your art career or your art business are going to suffer. They're going to suffer. Because although it's important to keep your mind right, and if you don't know what to do, shoot from the hip, right? You will eventually need to know what to do. This is something that I've experienced over and over. For example, let me give you an example. Sometime in my month, let's call it that, I'll experience things like, man, I'm kind of lost. I don't know what to do. And I have to sort of regenerate ideas and creativity and on and on and on. I believe it's due to two things. Okay, it's not that complicated, but I believe it's due to two things. One, I stopped paying attention to the thing that matters, which is keeping my mindset right. And number two, I stopped showing up. What I mean showing up, if you're playing a bit more serious game, if you're an artist, you have a studio, or you're selling your artwork, if you're playing a little bit more of a serious game, you have to constantly show up in different ways. You can't just show up and be like, oh, well, I'm going to paint today and see what happens. Most, or I would say all of you who know this, would relate to this. You have to do marketing, you have to do selling, you have to take photographs of your work, you have to do a lot of shaking hands or virtual shaking hands or whatever. You have to show up in different ways, right? You have to be able to show up in different ways. And if you don't, what starts happening is that you start kind of forgetting what made you win. This is very common. It's very common. You start forgetting the things that made you win. For example, some of the stuff that makes me win is that I'll write down ideas. Ideas I have for making paintings or for videos or for marketing or whatever. It's not all day. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, at most 15 minutes of my time every day, at most. If I do it every day, it's probably about 5 minutes. But I tend to slack, and I'll do it every other day. See, that's the problem. When I run out of ideas, right, because I'm not constantly pouring in new ideas, I start showing up in a way where it's just mechanical. I'm no longer being challenged. So I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I have to remind myself, dude, first you stop showing up, right? I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know if it's because you're not challenged, you're not showing up, or you're not showing up, and then therefore you're not challenged. I have no idea. I haven't dissected it. I don't really care much about dissecting that. What I do know is that when you show up to your art studio, okay, there's many things to do. Many things to do. I talked about this in other videos. I call it the farm, right? You got to farm. You got to work the farm. It can't just be, well, I'm going to show up and I'm going to paint. No, that's like saying I'm going to show up to my farm and I'm going to, I don't know, plant some seeds. Yeah, but you have to sow the land. You have to clean up this. You have to clean up that. You have to change the shoes of the horses. You have to tend to the cattle, and on and on and on and on and on. There's so many different things. Many people say, I'm going to go bananas with this. You won't. You won't if you give each thing its space. You can't take 6 hours for each job. You can't take all day for one job, because then you neglect all the other ones. And this is a problem. This is a problem that many times we try to juggle personal time, entertainment. I'm going to fuck around with my phone, right? I'm going to play around with my phone, and we neglect the things that need to actually happen. Things that that are crucial for your art business or your whatever, right? They're crucial in your art studio. Again, one of the examples is for me to keep a fresh list every day. I'll give you an example. If I'm like driving around, I carry around little lists like this. If I'm driving around, little things. If I'm driving around, and I don't know, I see like a bird on a wire or something. I'm like, oh man, oh my god, yeah, idea, bird on a wire, right? That's how I am. I'm crazy like that. I'll write it down, and I won't do anything much about it. Just kind of write down a bird on a wire, right? Or I'll just sit down for 10 minutes or 5 minutes a day, whatever, and try to chop down as many ideas. That's a little harder because it requires much more discipline, right? You have to be very disciplined to sit there and be like, okay, well, I had a dream about this. Well, I'm going to write this down. The other day I was at a museum, and I saw this painting, and I really thought it was interesting to do something similar to that, but with my twist, and like this, and blah, blah, blah. And then you write that down. Because what that does is that you're cultivating fresh ideas. And this is part of being in a studio, because if you're not careful, you start repeating yourself, and if you start repeating yourself, depending on what type of business you're running, unless you're Andy Warhol, you're cool. And even he didn't repeat himself, right? He created collections, but he moved on from theme to different themes. So if you're not careful, you start repeating yourself, and that's always a problem if you're not showing your artwork to enough people. Hint, hint. There's a little clue right there for those of you selling artwork. If you're showing your artwork to a handful of people and you over-repeat yourself, this is why people talk about scarcity, right? You have to have a scarce product. They don't mean paint less. A lot of people think that they mean paint less. They don't mean paint less. They mean that your product has to be unique. It has to be scarce. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to paint a cow, and then you're going to paint 1,000 cows, right? Unless you have a huge audience, then that makes sense. But if you don't have a huge audience, if you have a smaller audience, it's very difficult to pull that strategy. So I'm always writing down ideas. Another thing that I do every day to keep my mind in the right place is to make sure that I do that with every other task. Of course, some stuff takes longer than others, but I try to give about 15 minutes to each thing, at most. I learned this from a mentor. He calls it the beast mode clock. What it does is that you basically break down your day, your 24 hours. Okay, how much are you going to sleep, right? This requires a lot of discipline. I believe that this is the number one reason why artists fail. I personally believe this, okay? Or anyone, but we're talking about artists here. This requires a shitload of discipline. See, because if you're showing up, your mindset's right. If you're not showing up, you're gonna be scared. So I don't believe that your mindset is right first and then you show up. I believe it's the other way. It's the other way around. I believe you show up and then your mindset is right. Then your mindset's like, oh, okay, yeah, I like this, because you're winning, right? Because you're doing all the things, so you get excited, and your mind's like, yeah, I like this. It's not the other way around, guys. You show up first. You are responsible. You're everything should be your responsibility. And then your mind clicks, and your mind starts, looking around it, because your mind is always counting whether you're winning or losing. Okay, a lot of people kid themselves, and they're like, well, as long as I'm happy. Bullshit. You know what your mind does all day? It's evaluating wins and losses all day. It's like children, right? Like children. That's what children do. Children are always evaluating. Children are like sponges, right? They're sponges. They're evaluating. Mommy said she doesn't like this. Daddy said he doesn't agree with this. They're always evaluating. Because they're sponges. They soak in information, right? When you're older, it's harder to soak in information because you retain a lot of information, meaning you're thinking all day. Children don't do that. Children are not thinking all day unless something has been, deposited into their psyche. But children aren't thinking all day. That's why JC the Christ said, "Be as children," because they're not thinking all day. Right? They're pure. They're not. Oh my God, what did she say at work? I didn't like that. And then they're all pissed off all day. Children aren't like that. Children get upset and then they forget about it 10 minutes later or 5 minutes later. It gets out of their system right away. Most children, at least. The vast majority of children. Unless, again, parents make it difficult for them to do that. But look, getting back to this whole thing. When you're in your art studio and you're working in your art studio and you're attending to the farm, what I call the farm, which is many things, okay? You artists out there, check it out. You got to do different stuff, guys. You can't just show up and paint and expect things to happen. What this beast mode clock, what it does is that it breaks down your time in real stuff. It doesn't make it. For example, you got 24 hours. Okay, well, sleep 8. Don't sleep 5. Sometimes I'll sleep 5, 6. I'm like, what the hell am I doing, dude? Sleep 8. Sleep 8 so that you can have the rest of the 16 to produce. Now, this doesn't mean just to work or go to your job. It means to produce into life, right? My family, my studio, and on and on and on. You want to produce, okay? So, you sleep 8 hours. You're awake for 16. Let's say that you have let's say that you have a daytime job somewhere, right? For just, if you're not a full-time artist yet. Okay, let's just say that for the example. If you're a full-time artist and you're like me, sometimes you'll waste all 16 hours on nothing. And you're like, oh man, I remember when I wanted to be an artist. So let's say that you go work 8 hours for someone else. Let's say that it takes you 10 hours because you drive back and forth and whatever, for the example. Right? Now you got, 6 hours left. Let's say that you give that 2 hours of that to your family and to this and to errands and this and that, and you got 4 hours left to produce with your artwork. And even if you have 3 hours left, for whatever reason, I don't know. Don't spend all 3 hours painting something. Break it down. Break it down so that you're able to move, to start moving. Break it down. This is why it's so crucial to squeeze every second out of the hour, right? Break it down into 15-minute segments. Your mind will reward you. You will be rewarded. First, you're going to be rewarded with enthusiasm. But you have to go hard though. Okay, so you're like, man, I got 10 minutes to come up with ideas. You start writing down. I don't know what ideas to write down. It doesn't matter. Time yourself. You got 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Write down a bunch of ideas. Stupid things. Even write down. I have no effing idea. I have nothing to write down right now. This I learned from the late Gary Halbert, one of the best marketing geniuses of our time. I learned this from him. He said that when he needed to write something down, he just got in the motion of writing down. Even if he didn't have ideas, then the ideas would start popping up. This is so true. First comes the horses and then the carriage, right? First the horses. First put the action in it. So write down some ideas. Man, I always wanted to paint this. Madonna with child. I don't know. Whatever. I'm right now, because I think a lot of old religious subjects, right? And I'm like, Christ on the cross, this or that, blah, blah, blah. Let's just start chopping out ideas. Or I had an idea about this. You know, when I was a kid, I used to chase around little birds. I'm going to paint myself holding a bird. I've literally done this. Right? Or I have no ideas. I don't know what I'm going to write, blah, blah, blah. But time is running. I got 5 minutes. I got 5 minutes to write down ideas. Even if you write nothing, you've done something. Even if you didn't come up with an idea, you should be writing something. It doesn't matter what, but you should be writing. You've done something to yourself, to your psyche. You've told yourself that you can show up. That you can show up. You're building the muscle. You told yourself you can show up. Then the next day, you do that again. Okay? So that day, you write down your ideas. I have no ideas today. Jose told me to use this 5 minutes to time yourself. Go to Google on your phone or whatever and put the timer. Put the timer. Put 5 minutes with an alarm, right? It's the Google clock. And then, you have 5 minutes to write down your idea. Cool, you got that down, okay? You got 5 minutes. Whether you wrote an idea or not, you wrote something. So you got the muscle going, right? Then you move on. You're like, okay, well, I got 10 minutes to go post something on Facebook. But you got to go like that. What I don't mean is going fast just because fast. What I'm talking about is jump from activity to activity. Even if you just got 3 hours to work on your artwork, jump from activity to activity. Okay, my next activity is gonna be I'm gonna record a live of me talking about one of my art pieces, or me mixing paint, or me blah blah blah. Okay, all right, dude, you only got 10 minutes, or you got 15 minutes. Break it down into 15-minute things, and then the smaller tasks. Don't give them 15 minutes. Not everything takes 15 minutes, although not everything also takes that little time. Some stuff will take you 30 minutes. Some stuff will take you 1 hour, but don't spend 2-3 hours on the same stuff, because then what's going to happen is you're not going to advance in the other stuff. So you have to be very you have to include all of the tasks. Okay, you have to be very careful how you use time. You have to include all the tasks. This is going to allow you to feel like a superpower. You're gonna feel like Superman. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I got 10 things done. Now, other people, if you talk to if you talk about this to other people, they're gonna be like, yeah, but you only spend about 10 minutes on them every day. Yeah. When was the last time you spent 10 minutes on that? It's probably months, years. Did you spend 10 minutes on something important? 10 minutes, 15 minutes on something extremely important for your career, man, it's going to give you a boost. That's when your brain's going to be like, oh my God, yeah, that's awesome. This guy's cool. We got all of this stuff down. Remember when you were a kid and you used to get stuff down? Or as an adult, and you used to get stuff done? Like, oh my God, I got to clean my closet. I got to clean the garage. You know why we don't clean the garage? Because we're thinking it's going to take this long time, and it will if you do it all in one day. That's why you keep neglecting it. If you go look at the garage and you're like, all right, I got 30 minutes to clean whatever. You only got 30 minutes. Whatever. Even if you're just moving stuff around from one place to another, go put 30 minutes in there. Most people don't do it because they get overwhelmed, because we're perfectionists. What we want to do is we want to clean the whole damn place in one day. So therefore, we spend all of our energy, or we don't do it. We spend all of our energy doing one task, which is it has no payoff. It has no payoff unless there's 10 people, and you spend 1 hour, 2 hours. Then it does have payoff, right? This is how businesses are built. But if it's just you, it has no payoff. You're like, no, man, because I got to go to work, and then I got to go exercise, and then I got to go take my kid to school, and then blah, blah, blah. It has no payoff. But if you wake up a little bit earlier, or instead of watching TV or whatever, you're like, dude, I got 30 minutes. Go, I got 30 minutes. Oh, my God, I'm not going to do enough. It doesn't matter. You got 30 minutes. Then the next day you got another 30 minutes, and the next day you got another 30 minutes. Before you know it, it probably won't take a week. Okay? And it didn't take a week. It's just that a week went by and you gave it 30 minutes every day. And your garage is spotless clean. This is how shit gets done, especially when you're alone. But most of us are too much of perfectionists that we're waiting to get everything done right away, which is the right thing to do it right away. But most of the stuff is not going to get done right away. and she's gonna work on it. And what that does is that it gives this boost into your brain, into your mind, that you can get shit done, which is the most important part about being a human being. That's what I mean. Aside from being whole and all this esoteric thing, right? It's the most important part of being a human being. I think it's just to be right. But after that, it's doing. Human beings are most happy. We're most engaged when we're doing. Look at children. I find this with my son. I'm like, no, go over there. I'm working on something. Even his head, and he goes like, oh shit, man, and then I have to remember, because this used to happen to me when I was a kid, right? My dad or my mom would be like, well, especially my dad. My dad was a little rougher. He'd be like, no, go over there. I'm working on something right now. And then I remember that I do this to my son sometimes, and I'm like, oh fuck, no, come here, help me. I really need your help. This is very important. And all of a sudden, I see his face just light up. His face lights up. Why does my son's face light up when I put him to work? With me, not as a chore, but as I need you, buddy. We got to do this together, His face lights up because every human being loves action. Every human being does, in different ways. If you get engaged into being productive, into action, your face is going to light up. Your spiritual face is going to be like, oh, hell yeah. I knew I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a whatever, right? Whatever your career is. Whether you sell cars or you sell flowers or you sell paintings, it doesn't matter. I know I talk about artists here, but it's general. It doesn't really matter. As long as you remain engaged. And you don't spend a whole day or a lot of time on a single activity. That is the kiss of death. I talked about this many, many times. The kiss of death is spending too much time on a single activity. You artists out there, you guys should know this. Because nobody talks about this stuff. Most people are like, yeah, go paint and be happy. Well, yeah, man, but how do you do it? Right? How do you do it? How do you figure it out? Because many of us don't know. Many of us are confused. Part of the confusing thing about this is that we don't do it enough, so we can't figure it out. Okay? This is not meant to simplify your success or whatever you're looking at success, but this is meant to get it going. To get it going. If you're having a hard time being an artist and you're like, man, I don't know, I'm not selling, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not getting exhibits, you may be spending too much time on a single activity. You can't spend too much time on a single activity. You have to change. This is why that 15-minute clock is so important. But it takes a lot of cojones to do it, because you have to be very disciplined. Now, not everybody is disciplined like that. And I don't know if everybody wants to be disciplined like that, because a lot of people are like, man, I became an artist, so I wouldn't be disciplined. If you do it as a hobby, awesome. But if it's your career, you will have to get disciplined, or else you're gonna suffer the consequences. You will, if you do it if it's your career, your business. By the way, there's no such thing as an art career. There's art business or art hobby. How's it going, Monte? How's it going, Kimberly? If you're an artist that does this gig as a hobby, then more power to you. Totally cool. Nothing against that. We should all do some creative thing, painting, whatever, as a hobby. But if this is your gig as a business, that you're serious and you're like, man, I gotta monetize from this, like, you can't do one thing. It's the kiss of death. You gotta do many things. You gotta break down your day into 15-minute segments. 15-minute segments. You go to sleep 8 hours. You're awake 16. Figure out how much of the 16, right, are gonna be for your career. You're gonna dance, and you're gonna feel this boost of it. The thing is that we don't utilize time correctly. That's the whole thing. The whole problem is that we don't utilize time correctly. We're not jumping from activity to activity. What we do is that we say this. Look, this is what most people say. I gotta go to the studio and create some artwork. I've been saying this kind of shit since I was in my teens, because I had a studio since I was like 17. So I've been saying this kind of stuff, you know. Oh, thank you so much. Wisp West by Adri says, "I love your advice, and you and your wife are awesome. Keep on going." Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you are doing this as a full-time gig, right? You're an artist. What most of us do is that we go to the studio and we're like, I gotta go to the studio. This is why we don't advance in our careers, because we're like, we gotta go to the studio. Yeah, and you gotta go to the studio with an idea of what you're going to do. I'm not talking about break it down in like perfectionism or anything. No, but you do have to know what you're gonna do. Right? Because otherwise you're going to be like this. You're going to be like, okay, what's next? What's next? At least if you have that, okay, this is how you discipline yourself. You look at, okay, post something on Facebook. Okay? You got 5 minutes for that. By the way, you don't have to write down 5 minutes, 10 minutes. In the beginning, you might, just because it's so difficult it can be difficult to get it to work. But you do have to write down your tasks, your to-do list. Write down a long-ass to-do list, a hard to-do list. Don't start small. Don't be like, okay, if I just get this thing down, then I'll add another. I don't know. That doesn't seem to work for anybody that I've talked to, and it didn't work for me. And when I mean that I talk to, I'm talking about people that are doing like major, like massive stuff. What you want to do is write down a bunch of stuff that you need to get done. Maybe write down the stuff that you need to get done for the next month. I don't know. Maybe it's like 30 things, you know? It's a to-do. I got to call this gallery. I got to do this. I got to call 10 galleries. Blah, 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 blah. Don't get overwhelmed. Just know in your mind that everything that you're going to do, you're only going to give it 15 minutes. And clock yourself. Time yourself. I got 15 minutes for this. Jump. Boom, 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 boom. And then you move on to the next thing. I only got 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if you only touch it. If you don't really get to do anything. I got to clean up my studio. Okay, jump. You got only 15 minutes. Oh my God, it's not enough time because then I have to organize. This is why shit doesn't work. Too much organization. No, you got to jump. You got to say, okay, this is what I want. Jump. What's next? What's next? What's going to happen is that it's going to awaken your inner beast. It's going to awaken. The more stuff you do, the more stuff you can do. And it's going to awaken this in you that it's like, oh shit, man, I can get stuff done. You know? And this is what's going to prompt you to higher levels of success. This is the ultimate advice. The more you do, the more you can do, but you have to have purpose. You have to have purpose. What are you doing? You have to have purpose. Because many of us walk around like we don't know what we're doing. This is why we show up to a place and we're kind of confused and we're like overwhelmed with thinking about all the stuff that we have to do because we don't give ourselves an ultimatum. We don't give ourselves an ultimatum and a limited, right? A limited time to get it done. If you give yourself a limited time to get it done, all of a sudden you're like, you realize what you're able to do in 15 minutes. You realize what you're able to do in 30 minutes, in 1 hour, in 5 minutes. You start realizing what you're able to do in such little time. But we don't do this. What we do is that we procrastinate. We literally procrastinate because we are afraid of, I think we're afraid of a couple of things. I think we're afraid of the outcome, and we're afraid that we can't get it done. But the only reason why we can't get it done is because we're thinking about how do we get it done from point A to Z. And we don't go from A to B. We go from A to Z and we're like, oh, there's no way. There's no way I can finish framing all of these paintings today. Jose was crazy. No. But if you at least give it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you're able to advance. And then you move on to the next thing. See, when you start doing a bunch of stuff, different stuff, the power comes in. And then your creativity comes in and you're like, oh my God, I can call so-and-so and I can give them one of my paintings so that they can help me for like, I don't know, maybe they can help you for like 5-6 hours and be like, look, I don't have money, but I know you want one of my paintings. You got to be creative. But the only way to be creative is to start moving. You know, I gotta finish packaging these paintings, or I gotta do this. I don't have money, right? Because I haven't sold a painting yet. By the way, that is a problem. You need to sell paintings, but whatever. but I know you love my artwork and blah blah. How about I give you one of my paintings or two of my paintings for I don't know, a day of work or 2 days of work or whatever. It doesn't matter, or how about what happens is that creativity starts coming in. You start being creative. This is what Andy Warhol used to do. He was so busy in different things. A lot of people don't know this about this cat, but Andy Warhol was already making a fine living as a illustrator, designer before he was this artist or whatever, because he understood this. I remember reading about this guy's biography, and he's been like that since, so he understood this. He understood the staying busy. He actually has a quote. He says, create artwork. I don't know if this is exactly how he said it, but whatever. I give you guys a loose translation or a loose example of the quote. He said, create artwork, right? Don't worry whether they like it or not. While they are deciding, keep making more artwork. He's talking about staying busy. Stay busy. It is your ultimate power. Your ultimate power as an artist is to stay busy. It's not to be creative. Creativity will come, but you got to do many tasks. I've given you guys like the ultimate thing. If you apply this, you'll see your life change like that. It's not going to be like, oh my God, a year later. No, it's like that. Your life is going to start changing like this. It is the ultimate power. When people ask me, like, how do you get stuff done? Dude, I don't think about it. I just tell myself, what do you need to get done? Okay, write it down on your to-do list. This, and this. This is the shit that you get to get done. Okay, work on it. I don't even say do it, blah, blah, blah. Just work on it. Okay, you got 10 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. I need to write an article. Okay, well, you only got 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, right? Okay, write down the article. Oh man, it came out shitty. Or oh man, the blah blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Perfectionism will slow you down. Perfectionism is the kiss of death in any art studio, in any person. You try to be a perfectionist, you'll never get shit done. Nobody gets anything done that thinks they're perfectionist. And by the way, perfectionism shows up in different ways. You could be an abstract artist. And be like, and not worry about realism, right? Because a lot of people confuse perfectionism with realism if you're an artist. And you could be like, oh my God, I don't have the right brushes. There's your perfectionism. Oh, I don't have the right size studio. There's your perfectionism. Oh, I don't have enough time. There's your perfectionism. It shows up as a way of procrastination. It shows up in different ways. What you want to do is you want to say, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to go kill this. 15 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. You punch it, then you move on to the next thing. What else do I have to do? Oh, I have to make a phone call to a gallery because I want to see if they want to hold some of my artwork for a show. Boom, you got 5 minutes. Don't even give yourself 15 minutes for that. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. 9 out of 10, they're not even going to answer. You're going to go straight to voicemail. Or they're gonna say I'm busy or whatever. It doesn't matter. Don't script out the call. Don't talk about, don't write down what you're gonna say or whatever. Pick up the phone and say, hi, my name is so and so, blah blah blah. I got some artwork. I want to show it to you. How about today? Right? They'll be like, you're crazy. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You did it. You did it. Even if you get a no, your brain is gonna be like, oh my God, I can get shit done. Because this is the problem. The problem that we have when it comes to success is because we wait. We are waiters. We wait. Everyone's problem, everyone's challenge, call it a challenge, every artist's challenge, every person's challenge is that we wait to get shit done. And the reason we wait is because we are afraid of the outcome. We are afraid of the outcome. We're afraid whether we are going to get an ROI, a return on our investment, right? How much am I getting? If I'm going to paint this painting, how much am I going to sell it for? You are waiting. You're waiting. We're waiting too long. And that's the problem. Shana says, I try to stay busy. Sometimes doing a commission portrait drags me down. And I don't progress with anything else. I totally get that. That's why you have to move. You have to move. That's why you have to move. Art of Krista says, so true about perfectionism. Totally. Shana says, yes, that's true. Perfectionism is my problem. It's everyone's problem. How's it going, Jolly? Perfectionism is everyone's problem. It's the thing that it's going to hold you back. And It's your number one challenge as an artist, perfectionism. Your second challenge is discipline. Discipline is your second challenge. Okay? You know how some artists are like, I'm such a perfectionist. Every time I hear that, I know they're not doing anything. Artists that say they're perfectionists don't do anything. Look at any hyper realistic artist that has made a name for themselves. Because a lot of people confuse this thing, right? They're so perfectionist when it comes to the way that the work looks, but it's not perfectionism. I bet you, I don't bet you anything, because there's nothing to bet here. It's just the way I talk. There's something, many things, that they're not perfectionist about. This story about Walt Disney saying that other people see stuff and he doesn't see it and he's such a perfectionist, that's not true. That's not true. They're not perfectionists in that sense. They're perfectionists in the sense that they take pride in their work, but they get it done. They're perfectionists in the sense that, oh, that's mine over there. I did that, right? I want to make sure that it looks great. I want to make sure. But the very first thing that they care about is in showing the work. Showing the work is the most important thing. It's such a funny thing because people tend to think that perfectionism is a good thing, and it's not. It's the kiss of death. It's the thing that's going to hold you back. How's it going, Carol? It's the thing that is going to hold you back. It's the thing. It's the dream. It's a false reality. It's an oasis you can never reach. You can never reach it. That's why Dali said, don't worry about perfectionism. You'll never reach it. Don't even worry about that. Because everybody's trying to reach some sort of perfectionism. Some sort of, when everything is great and everything is put together, then I'll start working, and that's the problem. That's the problem. It's never great. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't work on it, as I said. Give everything 15 minutes. Work on it. But know that it's not going to be perfect. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I know so many people have told me, dude, your work is not nearly perfect in any way. How were you able to sell so much of it? Or how were you able to sell these pieces for, this amount of money? And my answer is always, I got it done. I got it done. It was done. See, we confuse things. We human beings tend to confuse things. The most important thing as an artist is to get shit done. When you go to work for someone, you're not getting paid for hours. We're confused about it. It's just that there's no other way that your boss could pay you. So we made up this whole hour thing. Really, if he could pay you just to get it done, he would pay you to get it done. Or she. If your boss would pay you to get something done, they would just pay you to get it done. They don't want to pay you by hour. Nobody gets paid to work on anything. Nobody does. I mean, people do. They think they do, but they don't. You get paid to finish something, to complete it, not to work on something. The thing is not to work on anything. Working on something it's like it's pointless. I hate coming to the studio and saying I'm going to work on this. I'm not. Even though I told you right now I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work this 15 minutes, right? It's figurative speech. But really, the whole idea is to get it done. It's to get it done. The whole idea is to get it done. If I'm gonna do something, I'm like, it doesn't matter till it's done. It won't matter. None of the stuff that you do matters till it gets done. None of it. It's just the truth, If you painted something and you never showed it, or you never put it on Facebook, or you never, exhibited it, or you never showed it to, I don't know, whoever, 10 people, one person, whatever. If you don't show it, if your intention is to sell it or to show it or whatever, and if you don't show it, it doesn't matter whether you painted it or not. I know so many artists are like, oh my God, I'm so great. I'm in my studio and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, are you showing the work? Is it out into the world? Did you sell it? What was the finish line? Oh no, what's important is the journey, not the destination. No. I think what's important is both. I think you should enjoy the journey, right? You should enjoy the journey. You should be fully in the journey, but you have to get to the destination. Otherwise, what's the point? You have to get to the destination. There's a destination. I'm going to make this painting because I want to sell it, or because I want to exhibit it, or because I want to make prints of it, or whatever. Whatever your idea is, it has to get done. This is why the beast mode clock is so important. The beast mode clock, I learned it from a mentor. It's break down your day in 15-minute segments. Your day. You sleep 8 hours, remove that, block that, cross it. You have to, right? It's part of the human, right, experience. You have to replenish yourself. Go to sleep. Okay, you got 16 hours now. How much of that is work? How much of that is family? How much of that is spiritual? How much of that is physical? You know? And then this is your career or your business. How much of that are you actually working in it? Are you spending 9 hours working on a painting? Man, you're shooting yourself on the foot. You shouldn't be spending 9 hours working on a painting. I know some people are like, don't tell people what they should and shouldn't do. I'm telling you guys my experience. You know? Working on a painting for 9 hours, for me, it's stupid. You know? Working on a painting, even if it takes you a year to make, don't work on it for 9 hours a day. Work on 100 different paintings, even if it takes you 1 year to make. Work on 10 different paintings or 100 different paintings and give each one, I don't know, 2 hours, 1 hour every day. Or give each one, if you have so many paintings at the same time, give each one 30 minutes and only work 3 hours a day on painting. And use the rest, use the, 6 hours to do other stuff, to market, to sell, to visit galleries, to this, to that. And if you got another hour left, then work again on artwork. But you can't work on artwork only, because then you won't advance on other things. This is where people get it confused. They're like, how do I get stuff done? How do you get so much done, Jose? I don't stay too long on something. And although I'm saying this, and I do long videos, because I believe it's so important. I try not to stay too long on anything, any given task, because I know it's the kiss of death. I stay too long on a task, two things happen. I slow down on everything else, right? And then my certainty level goes to the floor. And then to pick it back up, I'm all fucking confused. I don't know what to do. This happens a lot. If you're an artist, you probably cognate with this. Your certainty level goes to the floor because you're confused. It's not because you're not a good artist. It's because you're confused, because you stop doing multiple activities. When you stop doing multiple activities, you start getting confused. You start backing out. You're like, oh, I don't know if I should do that. Yeah, you should, but only give it 5 minutes. Go for it. Hit it. I don't know if I should do that. Yeah, you should, but you should do it as fast as you can. Go give it as much effort as possible. See, the whole point is to deposit as much effort into a small pocket of time. This is the whole point. This is my secret, guys. Deposit as much effort into a short period of time. People ask me, how do you get stuff done? How do you get paid for your artwork? How do you do so much artwork? I deposit a lot of effort into a short period of time. And then I move on to the next thing. I thought it was crazy, Jose. It's true. I coach artists. I've literally charged someone $200 the other day, telling this person this person didn't get it, and I'm just telling it to you guys right now. Okay, someone paid me $200 to tell them this. Well, not just this, but this was the most important part of it. You deposit a lot of effort. Okay, you deposit a lot of effort into a small pocket of time, and you fill your day with a shitload of pockets of time. And this is the thing that gets your career high. This is the thing that starts. This is the stuff that helps you get paid. This is the stuff that helps you get opportunities. If you have an idea, write it down and put it in your to-do list. Jolly says it's so important to listen to someone who's succeeding. Oh, thank you. Love that. If you have an idea about whatever, write it down. Be like, oh my God, I wish I could exhibit that. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Exhibit at this gallery in my town. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. Oh my God, they did this art fair. I wish I could write it down. Write it down. Because what happens is that you don't have the muscle yet. This is what probably is the problem, right? The challenge that you're facing. You don't have the muscle to act upon it right away. This takes a lot of muscle, a lot of discipline to act on something right away. But write it down. At least develop that. Write it down. Then what you're going to do, okay, when you are ready to go to work, you get in, you're like, oh my God, I said I wish I could go and exhibit at that gallery. Pick up the phone and call them or go visit them. You only got 15 minutes to do it. If it takes you half an hour, it doesn't matter. It took you half an hour, whatever. You drove there or whatever. It doesn't matter. But do it as fast as possible. Get rid of it. Get someone to tell you, no, you can't exhibit here. This is not for you. Cool. Awesome. If you scratched it out, it's going to boost you up. See, winning is not necessarily winning. Winning is doing. Winning is doing. The more you do, the more you win. Winning is not winning. Because the more you do, even if you're getting a lot of no's, even if you're getting a lot of misses, what starts happening is that you start getting the yeses in there somewhere. For every 10 people that I call every day to try to sell them one of my $3,000 paintings, right? One of my mid-size paintings. For every 10 people that I call, that I contact, I get 10 no's. I get 10 no's. I'm not ready. Well, I got to talk to my wife, blah, blah, blah. But then I get to that 50th call or that place where, and then I get a maybe, or I get a, let me go see it. Let me go visit your studio. Bingo. That's how it happens. But I know that already. See, I didn't used to know this. It was so difficult for me to wrap my brain around this. Then I know this. The more you do, the more opportunities. Every 50 or so people, I get 2 people that say, dude, I'll buy that, or let me see. And imagine getting 2-3 people every day that maybe want to buy it, that are like on the fence. It means that they have the disposable income to do it. I don't know. Try it. Every day you're getting 2 to 3 people because you talk to 100, right? You're getting 2 to 3 people that say yes. Every day you're getting 2 to 3 people that go and click on your link because you showed your link to 1,000 people. You get maybe 20 people that click your link, and maybe out of those 20, 1 bids on my stuff, 1 buys it, 1 asks about a commission. It's because, again, I'm gonna give you guys the secret. Again, the secret is, it's no secret, but some people tend to think it's a secret. Deposit as much energy, as much action into a small pocket of time, and multiply these pockets of time. Have as many pockets of time as possible in your day. In other words, do as many activities in a day as possible in very short periods of time. Very short periods of time. What's going to start happening is your certainty level is going to go to the roof. Another thing is going to start happening. Here's another thing that's going to start happening. Anytime you devote too much energy or too much effort on a single activity, your certainty level will drop. You know why? Because you're putting all your eggs in that basket. That's why. Most people don't know this. I've talked to a lot of people. I've been coaching people every day. Most people don't know this. When you put all of your energy into one place, all of your eggs in that basket, you're waiting. It's like waiting for a commission. If you only got one person asking you for a commission for a painting, and you don't talk to anyone else, you just talk to that one person, you won't even go to sleep at night. You're going to be like, oh my God, I hope that they buy the commission, because you're waiting on one person. That's the problem. Don't wait on one person. Have 10, 100, 1,000 people that you're waiting on. Right? You're not even waiting on them anymore. You're like, whatever. Sometimes, I shit you not, I love getting those commissions, and I'm aggressive about it. But I don't wait on anyone. If someone tells me, no, it's too long, all right, clicky dicky, I'll get back to, I'll call someone else, because I ain't waiting for it. I know I'm generating income from different places. I'm auctioning my stuff. I'm participating with interior designers. I'm working with art dealers that sell my work in auction houses, and on and on. I have different income streams. So I'm not worried about it. Someone tells me no, dude, you ain't hurting me. Totally cool. Now, I want it, but if you say no, I'll just move on to the next person, right? Because I'm in the game, right? I'm in the game. I'm constantly generating opportunities. So I'm jumping from task to task. I'll do this video, then I'm gonna do another video just for LinkedIn. You know, I'm gonna do another video just for my Facebook crew, my fan page, right? I'm not gonna get the same video and put it over there. They don't want to hear about this. They're people that like artwork and they collect artwork and whatnot. So I'm gonna move on to the next thing. I'm gonna send an email to my email list and write something that's another crowd. That's another group of people. They're very interested in the prints and on. And I'm gonna keep moving, right? I'm gonna keep moving so that you generate. What happens is you start generating this momentum, these activities, right? And then when I'm watching the movies with my family, I'm doing my family time, right? When I'm watching the movies with my family, I know I'm cool to watch the movies. I'm not worried because I generated all of this momentum. After I get out of the movies, I watch my phone and I see all the sales, or I see all the commission questions, or I see the payment they sent me on PayPal because they pay me a commission, or they pay me this, or whatever. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. The only way you can do that is if you get busy. So busy in so many different things. Dynamic. Anyways, guys, I give you so much cool stuff. Not to sound crazy, but this is the stuff that people pay me to coach them. This is stuff that I tell them. I just told this to an artist. Exactly this. He paid me $200 to hear this. A couple other things, but this was the main one. This is the game changer. Most people are stuck. If you're already generating some sort of thing, this is where most people get stuck. They don't know how to move forward. They're afraid. Everyone's afraid. I'm afraid. Every fucking day I'm like, oh my God, they're going to tell me no. Or, oh man. But you know what? I'll move to the next thing. Be as a child. Why are children so happy? You know why? They don't hold on to the past. They move on to the next thing. This is their magic. Be as children. Move on to the next thing. A child is crying about something, and then you give them a lollipop, and they're like, oh shit, I forgot what I was crying about. They move on to the next thing. You know, they're playing with something. You move them to somewhere else, they'll be like, oh no, but I want it to be there. Then they see something else, and then they go after that. Especially the little ones, the toddlers, right? They're in tune with life. This is the natural way of behaving. We think that how adults act is the natural way. This is not the natural way. The natural way of behaving is like children. You obsess about something for a short period of time, and then you move on and you're like, I'm hungry. I'm going to obsess about being hungry. I'm going to cry as hard as possible so that I can get some milk. You get some milk and then you obsess about laughing. You obsess about little children. They obsess about many things in life, in their day. They obsess for short periods of time. This is how we need to behave as children. Obsess about many things. I'm only thinking about this video right now. When this is gone, I'm going to obsess about a painting. And then I'm going to obsess about something else for short periods of time. And then I have this dynamic day. Right? Like my boy is like, dude, let's go play ball. Man, I don't tell him I don't got time. Hell yeah. Got 5 minutes, dude. Let's do it. People are like, dude, your kid needs more than 5 minutes. Dude, what if I give my kid 5 minutes? What if I give my kid 10 minutes? What if I give my kid 10 times throughout the day 5 minutes? This is how I live life. There's days I give him an hour and he doesn't care about having an hour. He's like, dude, get out of here. Because he has enough of me all day. So does my wife. She has enough of me all day. She probably has more of me than she probably needs or wants. You know, you give something immense attention for a short period of time. This is the ultimate power of the human being. You give something so much attention for a short period of time. I remember reading that Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy, when he was a kid, if he got into something, they literally, his attention, his focus was so hard that they needed to lift him and move him to another place. Literally lift him because he wouldn't get up. Not because he was angry or not because he was, because he was obsessed at whatever he was doing. For short periods of time, but he was. I'm sure he wasn't obsessed all day. Nobody does that. For short periods of time. They get obsessed over something and then they zone everything out. That's how I do when I paint. I zone everything out when I paint. This is what I teach people to paint. When you paint, zone everything out. Meaning stop thinking. Don't think about what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. No, zone into the painting. When Warren Buffett and the guy from computer guy, I forgot his name. When he was young, Warren Buffett and him, they became buddies, right? And the mom asked Warren Buffett, "What do you think is the secret to success?" Both of them answered, or your experience of success or whatever. They both answered at the same time: focus. I would add to that, not because I'm in a position to add anything to what they said, but because I feel like it. I would add to that: focus in short periods of time. Focus in short periods of time. It's short periods of time, but it's laser beam focus. I got 10 minutes, dude. What can I do in 10 minutes, man? You burn the boats in 10 minutes. You can do so much in 10 minutes. You can do so much in 5 minutes. Especially men, you can do so much. You can do so much. It's just the energy that the human being has. It's so much. Every human being has so much energy. You're able to move in such. Imagine how many phone calls can you do in 10 minutes. Just try that. Just test yourself. Play around. Call everyone you know. Give yourself 10 minutes. But if you're going to call them, you're not going to stay there 10 minutes, right, on the phone call. No, you just call them. You just call them, "Hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. I just want to say hi." "All right, well, I got to go." Boom. Pick it up again. "Hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah." Hey, nobody answered. Leave a voicemail. How many phone calls can you make in 10 minutes? Just test yourself. Then when you see the reality of how much you can do in 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, when you see the reality, you will start realizing why your art career hasn't launched. You're going to start realizing that. Because I realize that every day. I kick myself in the ass every day. I'm the hardest person on myself. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you wasting so much time? Why are you wasting so much time? Utilize your time wisely. All right, guys? Take care. Much love. Blessings. Amazing. Always your lean, mean, motivational machine. Thank you, Shanaz. Take care, guys. Be productive. My only wish for you guys, well, not my only, but my main wish for you guys is to be productive. It brings happiness to every human being's heart. All right? Take care. Peace.